People always talk about this natural Jamaican rhythm, intrinsic to every household, a sweet beat in our feet, or even the rhythm of our language. That's the reggae rhythm. But if there's ever a time where those sounds become a bit louder, it's during this time of year when we observe Reggae Month. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson, and welcome to another Jamaica Magazine. We're diving into the history of the beat, all while exploring some more elements of our culture. Your Irie ride on this island begins right now.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, February 3. Jamaica is now set to receive its first shipment of COVID-19 vaccines within a few weeks. The vaccines from the WHO COVAX facility were previously scheduled for delivery in April. But Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says that timeline has been sped up.
We have been advised, Madam Speaker, last evening, by the COVAX facility that the country is set to receive between 146,400 and possibly up to 249,600 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine by the middle of February 2021. This means that some 125,000 Jamaicans, or up to 125,000 Jamaicans, could receive vaccines during the months or the latter part of February into March.
Dr. Tufton made the announcement during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. 16% of the population, or 450,000 Jamaicans, will be targeted for vaccination under the COVAX facility. Frontline workers, including doctors and nurses, as well as vulnerable persons 60 years and older, are among the first groups who will access the vaccines.
I must hasten, however, to caution that it is likely that the allocation could be adjusted. It could be adjusted upwards or downwards, depending on the present global circumstances and any anticipated challenges that this facility may encounter, which most likely would be issues around manufacturing. But to date, so far, so good. The commitments have remained true, and this latest correspondence that we received only yesterday is an indication of confidence in the process to deliver on the commitments that we have signed on to.
Dr. Tufton says preparations to receive the vaccines are on in earnest. Indemnity and liability frameworks with AstraZeneca are being finalized. Meetings will be had in the coming days with the National Vaccine Commission and the National Coordinating Committee to introduce the first set of vaccines to the country. A virtual meeting will also be held on Sunday, February 7, with private practitioners from across the island to discuss their role in the distribution of the vaccines among high-risk groups. Another virtual town hall meeting is set for tomorrow, February 4, to brief the public. Industry, Investment and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw is encouraging all labs to become accredited for COVID-19 testing. The Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, JANAC, has launched a pre-accreditation approval program to increase stakeholder confidence in Jamaica's COVID-19 testing capacity.
JANAC's international recognition for the accreditation of medical and testing labs will provide the assurance that the results generated by these entities can be trusted, Madam Speaker, thereby facilitating trade and protecting consumers' well-being.
In the meantime, the industry minister says the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, NCRA, has strengthened inspection, monitoring, and enforcement activities in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Up to January 31, there were 68 compliant hand sanitizers on the market, with 8 importers and 5 local manufacturers of hand sanitizers registered with the NCRA.
Over 104,000 products were detained at ports of entry. And after inspection, Madam Speaker, testing and analysis, 54,000 were compliant. Of the 104,000 tested, 54,000 were compliant and released for sale.
The Bureau of Standards Jamaica, BSJ, has also issued calls to manufacturers, distributors, and importers of hand sanitizers to take in samples of their products for testing. Users, manufacturers, and distributors of infrared thermometers are also being urged to submit them for calibration and accuracy checks. Also coming out of this Tuesday's parliamentary session, Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang has reaffirmed the state's commitment to adequately equip the security forces for crime fighting. He says interventions include improving police communication, expanding Jamaica Eye and training facilities, procurement of technology equipment and vehicles, and upgrading of the forensic lab.
In the terms of institution, rapid response teams, SWAT teams, special ops teams have been set up. Border control with the MAC Brigade and JDF is fully established. And as a result, we have more gangs in courts. We have expanded our training facilities.
Minister Chang also urged parliamentarians to support government's plan, Secure Jamaica.
Support the measures that give additional powers to the work of the police. To approve bold and innovative laws, policies and regulations for improved security, and make the investment necessary for national security to overcome decades of neglect.
We will support the legitimate efforts to make Jamaica safe. We all want that. None of us are happy with the current situation. All of us are affected by it.
More Jamaicans will now have access to judicial services following the opening of a justice center in August Town. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck opened the center yesterday. He says it will increase the rate at which residents in the surrounding areas can access justice and resolve conflicts peacefully. Minister Chuck also says restorative justice has been providing positive results in violence-prone communities across the island.
We think that restorative justice is a strategy to resolve disputes and conflicts in Jamaica. And if it is adopted at all levels, in the schools, in the communities, across neighborhoods, across parishes, we have no doubt that the violence and the murders that we experience could be substantially reduced.
The ministry is now operating 11 justice centers and 7 restorative justice centers across the island. Restorative justice encourages reconciliation between victims and perpetrators of crime towards a peaceful resolution of conflict. And finally, elderly persons 75 years and older are set to benefit from a new social pension program by the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. The new pension program will provide $3,400 per month to each beneficiary and index benefit levels to half of the minimum pension under the National Insurance Scheme.
To qualify for this new pension program, the individual should not be a resident in a government institutionalized care facility, should not be in receipt of social assistance through PATH, Poor Relief, or the National Insurance Scheme.
Information Minister Favour Williams gave the update at this week's post-cabinet press briefing. She also revealed that Cabinet had given approval for increased benefits to government pensioners with effect retroactive to April 1, 2020.
Persons who receive up to $41,667 per month will now receive an additional $2,300 per month. Persons who receive between $41,668 to $54,167 per month will now get an additional $1,800 per month. Pensioners who receive between $54,168 to $83,333 per month will now get an additional $1,450 per month. Pensioners who receive $83,334 and over per month will get an additional $1,450 per month.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
The legacy of reggae music is an undisputed one, charting many years of history. Our island gave birth to a gem that now travels the world. So it's only fitting that today's first piece of lesson unravels that journey of this beat. Here's reggae, music of the people.
From deep within the archives, on reels no longer supported by the platforms of a technological modernization in the transmission of sounds and images, comes the story of a people and their relationship with the music they have bred.
Reggae music is bass, brother.
Yes, sir.
Reggae music is roots.
Not the dread.
Yes, sir. It's our kind of music, that, brother. What me say?
If reggae can ever be edged to a set place, then 13 Brentford Road is its home. It was here at Studio One in 1968 that Rocksteady briefly went back 20 years, married the folk rhythms of Mento, and gave birth to reggae.
The new art form experienced its share of birthing pains as the so-called elites of society struggled to accept its revolutionary presence, while those from whose experiences it sprung cleaved onto this evolution in expression.
Reggae music is something that I think most of our people are ashamed of. I don't know why this should be, because it is coming from our roots. So much people are naked like them shame.
We agree.
Truly.
Sure, them just shame of what truly belongs to them. What me say?
That's what we steal sometimes, do I?
Truly.
Well, I think that the rhythm is very good, and we like it a lot in Jamaica here.
As myself coming from New York, I only thought that I would dig soul music, just, you know, funky music. But as I hear the reggae scene, reggae music, I like it.
I like reggae music very much because, right, it shows a lot of culture, right? It tells from the plantation days, the type of music the people used to sing, right? And it sort of reveal what really was going on in that time, right? Up till now, right?
It's something you can't just sit down and listen to. You have, you get the feeling to move.
Reggae music is our high-style music. Same way like how soul music belongs to CS, reggae music belongs to J.A. And my favorite artist are Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Probably because it's part of me, and we create it. I don't know, but I think I enjoy playing reggae very much.
I really dig reggae music, but whenever time I hear reggae music, I feel like dancing, you know?
I'm in a dancing mood.
Generations later, and the narrative retains echoes of past sentiments with the addition of new layers.
Reggae change, I can't say like it changed a bit, but still reggae beat. The old one is better, the new one not much to me. I just love the old stuff.
When I'm working, I listen to my music, keep me going,
If me go dance on them music that I'm play, me don't really stay there.
It means everything. It's a part of Jamaicans' history, so it defines who we are as Jamaicans.
It means everything. It means love, it means peace, it means understanding.
Reggae is a lifestyle. Reggae is a lifestyle, Jamaican lifestyle. Yeah, even the lifestyle you live, because even then tell you in the farm, you work hard every day, hustle hard every day, and the music says reggae. So, reggae is life, man,
Right now, this is my lyrics parade. Me have lyrics in the clouds and lyrics in the spade.
Reggae has become what some prophesied, a few decried, and almost none could truly imagine.
Reggae is no longer seen in the world as alternative music or third world music or new wave music.
It's doing good. I think a lot of guys who make a lot of money from it, but it is good. I think maybe probably next to tourism,
people know Jamaica not only for our sand, sun and beach, but they know us for our music. So when you go abroad and people be like, you're from Jamaica, you know Bob Marley, you know such and such, all because of our music. So reggae is our definition of Jamaica.
It is the strongest component in the brand Jamaica construct.
Reggae artists and those who specialize in its offshoot dancehall have won major musical awards. In life and past death, its greatest ambassador retains an undeniable international presence that has demanded respect from world-renowned publications. Since 2009, the entire month of February has been dedicated to its celebration at home. It was instrumental in garnering capital Kingston the designation by UNESCO as a creative city of music. And in 2017, the Jamaican government submitted a nomination dossier to have reggae inscribed on UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage for humanity.
This international protection instrument will ensure that the origins of reggae and its derivatives are appropriately documented and safeguarded for present and future generations. It is fascinating to reminisce on the early days when Jamaican music struggled to germinate, and the pioneers were classified in some cases as undesirables right here at home.
But even then, in its infancy,
Well, I think that reggae is a good music, here to stay, and I think reggae music belongs to us, and we ought to show it, right?
And now,
reggae is hot commodity and the world has embraced it, but we are proud to declare that we still own it.
Respect must be given whenever respect is due. One more time, let's give it up for Jamaica and reggae music.
Jamaica is also known for its natural landscape, one that perfectly holds areas like the Cockpit Country, which provides a refuge for many plants and animals. The area provides an impressive history lesson, and government's role in its protection is even more interesting. So we couldn't help but share that with you. Let's climb the area right from your television screens.
The Cockpit Country, an environmental, cultural, and historical asset which the people and the government of Jamaica value greatly.
The Cockpit Country is the country's largest water bank, the largest store of Jamaica's underground water, and it feeds many rivers. In seeking to protect the Cockpit Country, we examined the areas that have the feature of the cockpit, and then we looked at areas that depend on it, such as the forests. And we looked as well as the biodiversity that lives on it, the animals and the plants that live in that forest. And we protected that as well. And then we examined the issue of hydrology, meaning the water that is related to that area flows into the area and flows out of the area, the sinkholes and the various caves and crevices through which water enters and seeps underground, and we protected those as well.
That protection was necessary because the Cockpit Country has been under threat from human activity. Destructive farming techniques, improper garbage disposal, and overgrazing by animals are but a few of the actions that have negatively impacted this area. Thankfully, the government has stepped in by way of a protective boundary around the area. The Forestry Department is undertaking a ground truthing mission to align these boundaries on the proposed map with the actual landmarks. Ground truthing is taking place over 76,000 hectares of land across the mountainous regions of 5 parishes in the area designated as the Protected Cockpit Country. The process, which started in 2018, is expected to be completed in 2020.
That boundary will be enshrined in law, and within that boundary, there will be no mining. And within that boundary as well, certain agricultural practices will be banned, such as slash and burn, the use of dangerous chemicals. And it will be a regulated space to protect that water bank of Jamaica and to protect the forest that grows in the Cockpit Country and to generally protect that area as a national ecological park for Jamaica.
Consideration is also being given to the historic significance that the Cockpit Country bears to all Jamaicans, especially the Maroons.
There are areas around the Cockpit Country that are thought to be part of what is culturally considered the Cockpit Country. The Cockpit Country was where the Maroons lived. And it is where the British could not go. It is where the British were defeated in battle and had to see the Cockpit Country and walk around it, creating what is historically called a ring road around the Cockpit Country. And in fact, the Maroons were able, one of the probably only peoples who have defeated the British within this area and had a peace treaty. They were literally an independent state within Jamaica during the time of slavery.
This is our legacy, a section of Jamaica that spans across 2 parishes, Trelawney and St. Elizabeth. The government of Jamaica will be continuing their fight to protect one of our greatest assets.
And I want it to be absolutely clear to the Jamaican citizens that this government is the government of the environment. So we are not the government that will trade off economic benefit for environmental cost. That is not this government. So yes, we hear the complaints. Yes, we hear all that is happening on social media and what is being said. But I want to reassure the Jamaican people that this government will be responsible with our environment.
The Joint Select Committee of Parliament, considering the proposal to make the Portmore City Municipality Jamaica's 15th parish, is inviting members of the public to give their opinions on the matter. All submissions to the committee must be in writing. Please send your response by February 14, 2021 to Clerk to the Houses, Gordon House, 81 Duke Street, Kingston, or clark@japarliament.gov.jm. Please see the Parliament's website, www.japarliament.gov.jm, for more details.
We make sweet music and preserve our natural environment, but our diversity as a nation extends far beyond that. Our nation also gives birth to hands that will facilitate a true Jamaican fashion through jewelry making. Our team recently met with some craft vendors, and they showed us the art of jewelry making.
Droplets of beads, creatively designed metals, painted wood, all handcrafted to adorn the neck, face, or limbs. Made from natural resources found on the island, local costume jewelers are designing a niche for economic empowerment.
Natural handbands. These are like from Lucky Seeds and RSI, and these bracelet is from copper with seed mixed in. And we have bamboo handband. We have leather handband over here. And we have wallets, sandals, and pipes and chalices. Natural, all handmade right here in Jamaica. I've been doing this business for over 40 years now. I've traveled all over the world, and this is the business that I do. This is my living, and I'm very proud of it. I was working at the post office for 18 years, but in the 18 years at the post office, I learned this trade. I'm self-taught. That's what I love about this. I think about a creative piece, and I manifest it with my hands. And that's what I love about it, manifesting what I think.
So we have two lines here. We have one called the Heavenlies, and then we also have another line that's completely made out of paper, crafted from scratch, hand-painted by a fine artist and varnished. And that one is called Inspired by Nature. And if you look at it, you'll see things that remind you of sunsets or hillsides and mountainous reliefs and fruits and flowers. We have some freshwater pearls, we have shells, we have upcycled, I would say, materials that we used to make the earrings, so paper. So, and we do a lot of seeds and shells. I work a lot with shells. So those sorts of things.
I'm telling you this, we don't know how rich we are. We're a very rich country. I'd love if we could concentrate on developing our skills and using our local product and advance. We are so rich that it's confusing sometimes to see what we're doing, so much stupid things. Killing each other, robbing each other. We don't have to do that. We have everything here. So we need to just concentrate and focus and be positive and use the things that we have, because we have a lot.
Just be more mindful of what you're doing every day and what you're using every day. You know, paper instead of plastic, that's kind of, you know, the stereotypical answer, but really thinking about where you're buying your products. Are you buying things that are locally made? Are you buying things that are imported more than the locally made?
Our education system has pumped much fuel into producing some astounding minds, readers, thinkers, and shapers of a brighter future. So we want all Jamaicans to join us today in celebrating World Read Aloud Day. Here are some more details on this global celebration and how you can join in. The day highlights the importance of reading aloud and sharing stories with each other. It is a push to get more parents to read to their children to foster language development and social emotional learning. Reading out loud is to help create a connection between the spoken and written words and increase literacy rates across the world. Participating in the day is simple. Find someone or a group to read a book to, of course, while being COVID-19 responsible. Or simply use the hashtag World Read Aloud Day or hashtag #RadChallenge on social media to spread awareness. Knowledge is power, and making all Jamaicans literate is our aim as a nation. So join the movement and spread the word so we can all help in making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. We hope that you learned something because, well, that's as much as we could share with you today. But we are here every day, working and preparing to share even more with you. So join us again tomorrow for more Jamaica Magazine. There's even a way to watch a recap of today's episodes by visiting our YouTube channel. Also keep up with us by visiting our website, jis.gov.jm, and follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Keep safe and catch us again tomorrow.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.